Why is everybody black now? What is up, family? It is your girl T, aka the nappy-headed jojoba. Not nappy, not jojoba. The nappy-headed jojoba, back with one of my tea talks. And I will say from the jump that some of y'all may think I'm on one with this, but I promise you, even if that is the case, our lives will go on. There's just something that I've been noticing a lot, and it's been plucking my nerves more and more with each passing day. I mostly blame Twitter for the prevalence of this, or at least for its acceleration, but I think that this issue has transcended one mere social media application at this point. I'm talking about the evolution of cultural plunder. It takes many forms. In this age of social media, rating, ballroom, and black queer culture in general is when I first started noticing things starting to get out of pocket, where you'd have a blonde and blue cis hetero woman from like Peoria yes queening and slay hunting and dragging people for filth. I don't think there's a time in my life that I can remember where there hasn't been at least low-grade cultural appropriation from black people, if not black stereotypes, with people you go girling me, let alone the middle-aged ad execs who think that we legitimately say get jiggy with it. But now I for real see people tweeting in full-on Ave, or I should say attempting to, when they are clearly of the green bean casserole persuasion.
She do be vibing though. When her was I.
And I'm just sitting there like, wit. When I see this kind of thing, it's complicated because I absolutely borrow phrases and affectations from languages and cultures that are not mine. But we have to examine when appreciation becomes appropriation, because it would never occur to me to impersonate or build an entire persona around a culture that is not mine, let alone try to profit from it. And I especially don't need to profit off of other people's cultures, let alone stereotypes of those cultures, because this video is sponsored by TULA Skincare. What I have here is their Cult Classic Cleanser, which is a probiotic gel-based cleanser. I've actually been using this cleanser for a good while now. They sent this to me quite some time ago, so I've had a good chance to really test her out. When Tula asked me which product I most wanted to try, I was intrigued by the cleanser because I remember I had a facial like years ago because I had a coupon. Nothing wrong with enjoying the finer things and getting a deal while you're at it. Anyway, at that facial all that time ago, I remember the esthetician used a cleanser that had probiotics in it, and I loved the way that it left my skin feeling. So that experience really got me thinking that maybe there was something to skincare with probiotics in it. So I was really excited to try this. And to be honest with you, typically I'm not even a huge fan of gel-based cleansers because even though my skin is oily and acne prone, I don't like gel cleansers because they tend to leave my skin feeling really tight and stripped, but this one, she don't do that. This is a gel cleanser in the sense of its texture, but I'd say that the lather is rather soft and luxurious. I've even been enjoying this as my morning cleanser because typically in the morning I would reach for a balm or even a cream-based cleanser because I like something really gentle that won't leave my skin, again, feeling overly stripped, and just prep it nicely for the day whether I'm wearing makeup or not. But here I am using it this morning. I like to massage it in for at least a minute. I don't like time it or anything, but I like to make sure I really work my cleanser in for at least a minute. And even with working in your cleanser for that long, with this one, I don't find that it leaves my skin feeling tight or anything. In fact, I'm impressed with how soft it leaves my skin feeling afterward. The one point I will deduct is that this cleanser does contain fragrance, because I do try to stay away from skincare and cosmetics that have a lot of fragrance in them or essential oils. But the good thing about a cleanser is it's not on your face all day. You know, you wash your face and then you move on. So even if you have concerns with cleansers, this one leaves my skin feeling nice and I don't have to worry about any lingering effects of the fragrance because you rinse it off, baby. This was my first time ever trying out anything by Tula, so I had to get a bit more acquainted, not just with the product that I was going to bring to you guys, but with the brand itself. And one good thing to know is that they are cruelty-free and they never test on animals. And two, as I said, the thing that really tickled my pickle was that this was a probiotic cleanser, and I've kind of had that as something I wanted to try out again in the back of my head for a really long time. Well, it turns out all Tula products are made with probiotics and superfoods. So if you're not in the market for a cleanser, they might have something else that might interest you. And to bring things full circle to how much I love to enjoy the finer things, but at a discount, Tula has hooked us up with a discount code for 15% off. The discount code is fittingly T-Talks. So hit up the link in the description box if you want to check out Tula Skincare and save yourself some money while you do it. And as we head back into the tea talk for today, I feel like the proper thing to do is just to reiterate something that's probably obvious. This is a tea talk, not a TULA talk, so shout out to them for sponsoring today, but these opinions are all my own. As I was saying, the mainstreaming of the black scent is an extension of the same cultural appropriation that we see from losers like Trixie Paytas trolling with the braided wigs and other stunts for attention. But this type of interloping, the use of African American vernacular English, is even more unenforceable within the scope of call-out culture. Everybody loves to tell black people that we are reaching, that we're too sensitive, every time we check somebody for thieving or appropriating. It's textbook gaslighting. Karen's getting butthurt because we have the audacity to call them on their caucasity. So seeing all these people trying to sound cool by sounding black, I guess, in this monolithic sense of blackness, it's annoying. I think it's more annoying because it's almost, and I mean almost, subtle enough to give a person looking for plausible deniability just enough rope. As I said, lots of us borrow phrases and affects from other cultures, including me. But what I'm clocking isn't that. What I'm seeing on social media is something else. It's creepy, it's weird. It's one of those Potter Stewart moments, you know, where even if I can't clearly define it, I know it when I see it. And I know I'm not the only one because I've talked to other black friends about this privately, score one for confirmation bias. I guess I'm making this video to say to my people, we're not crazy. This is a thing, even though there will be people trying to tell you that it isn't. As someone who has code switched out of necessity before I even knew I was doing it, before I was conscious of it as a concept, before I even knew it had a name, there is a certain ire that I feel when I see what I am seeing on YouTube, Instagram, wherever. Because even the ability to code switch is a privilege that I have. It's an adaptation that I developed from being thrust into white spaces daily from what, 3rd grade? If there is anyone who has complete clarity on the reality of two Americas, it is someone who has had to learn how to code switch. Code switching is a survival skill. Going to PWIs for most of my schooling, working in show business now as an adult, which is basically an industry of cis white men. That has been my reality, really, many, several, as in quite a lot, of white spaces. And this is something that I don't think I can communicate effectively enough. There has not been 1 minute, 1 moment, 1 second where I have not been made acutely aware that I am an outsider in these covertly or overtly hostile environments. Code switching, which is more than just basing your word choices on your comfort level and your environment. It's aesthetic, it's the ability or inability to exist with the full spectrum of your identity, to have your guard up or not have your guard up. I'm saying there's levels to it, but that's another talk for another day. Bottom line, code switching is something that we have to do to make y'all feel comfortable. That old adage about having to work twice as hard to get half as much, well, code switching is part of that working twice as hard. Thanks, respectability politics. Black people's fear of white people's fear of black people manifests in a lot of different ways. It's oodles of fun for us. So one thing I constantly check myself on is my privilege of being able to code switch. Because there are plenty of black people who are way, 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 way smarter than me, but who never had the opportunity to develop the adaptation. And that is why it irks me when I see white people, otherwise non-black people, and even brands trying so hard to sound like they're from around the way in these past few years, and especially in these last few months. Like, what are y'all doing? In short, they're trying to code switch. And I'm noticing at this point, it's happening not just on social media, I'm seeing it happen in real life, which at this point is Zoom life. I have been in meetings with white men who are completely serious, saying homie this and playa that, and I'm just sitting there on mute, camera off, like riffraff, finish up your screen share and go cook some raisins. I still think the root of all this stems from Twitter, because even though I don't have Twitter, I'm still aware of Black Twitter as a force. And I suspect that the level of comedy, insight, and wit that Black Twitter, Black TikTok, Black YouTube continue to generate, of course people are going to try to colonize that too. Frankly, this goes all the way back to Al Jolson and probably before him. This is just the evolution. Code switching for us means learning to adapt to spaces that are designed to exclude us, all in pursuit of living a better life than our ancestors did. So now we have non-black folks code switching to sound like us for clout on social media, I guess. It just feels like yet another we can't have anything, because Ave, FKA Ebonics, remember that? Something for which black people are ridiculed writ large to this day. Oh yes, it's happening simultaneously with these attempts at imitation. Black people speaking Ave are assumed to be straight up dumb by outsiders, even though Ave has its own grammar, flow, and nuances to it the same as any other language. So when people put on a black accent for their YouTube videos or for their Twitter accounts or whatever, I don't see how this is different from blackfishing. It's putting on blackness as a persona, as a costume that has nothing to do with your actual identity. The woo Chile of it all. I just keep asking myself where the line is, you know, because I have so many phrases and behaviors and whatnot ingrained in me that are not of black communities and black cultures, things that I just picked up spending so much time with friends in school, friends from my neighborhood, whatever. On the other hand, I'm also not trying to take on a full persona of a Jewish woman from Queens or an Italian woman from Brooklyn when I'm on the internet, nor would I want to. What I'm seeing with the Ave and the black sense is weird. Y'all weird. If you were to take away every aspect, I mean every aspect of mainstream and popular culture that wasn't originated or at least touched by somebody black, how much would be left? I would love to know. I'd honestly love to know, what is culture in the broad sense when you take away the influence and co-opting of black culture, creativity, ingenuity, personality, regular deglarity? And I don't mean black excellence when I'm talking about our contributions. I ain't talking about Oprah. I'm talking about Darnell and Keisha, regular everyday black people. Because I'm seeing it every day. People are trying to emulate this monolithic voice of black people. And it's being done by the same folks who systematically exclude us from their most hallowed, sacred echelons of society for sounding or simply being too black. It's the cognitive dissonance for me. That's really it. The point of this tea talk remains tenuous because, as I said, the issue that I'm trying to raise is unenforceable. I guess I just want the record to reflect that I, and undoubtedly many of you, because we parasocial kin, have clocked this. So 6 months to a year from now, when our reality is just a devastating hybrid of Idiocracy and Malibu's Most Wanted, don't act brand new. That is it for today's tea talk. I apologize for any construction noise you may have heard throughout. They decided to start going about 10 minutes after I hit record because I'm just lucky, I guess. Thank you again to TULA Skincare for today's hashtag spawn, and thank you for watching all the way to the end. And last but not least, stay safe, stay dangerous, and never trust anyone with a Morphe code. And by the way, there should be a merch shelf underneath this video if you want to keep that reminder with you. Bye-bye.
That's a nappy-headed hose there, I'm going to tell you that now.
Homegirl don't even have to work. Homegirl get that paper all on her own.
Stop that. You're white.